Okay, so welcome everyone. Today our session is on how exercise correlates to well-being. And I'm just going to start us off with a land acknowledgement before we get into our presentation. So in the spirit of our journey to promote reconciliation, we'd like to honor the truth of the shared history and acknowledge the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit who've lived in and cared for these lands for generations. We are grateful for the traditional knowledge keepers and elders who are still with us today, and for those who have gone before us. And I would like to recognize that I am tuning in from the Treaty 7 territories. So I'm tuning in from Okintis, also known as Calgary, and the Meeting of the Waters. And I am situated on the traditional territories of the Treaty 7 people, including the Blackfoot Confederacy, which includes the Kainai, Siksika, and Piikani nations. Also the Ahe Nakota, which includes the Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Goodstoney nations, and the Tsuut'ina people. I'd also like to acknowledge that I'm tuning in from Métis regions 5 and 6, and that I know we're tuning in from all across Alberta here and potentially Turtle Island. So acknowledging all the traditional lands that we're tuning in from and the nations that have stewarded those lands. So some housekeeping, just as I mentioned, please keep yourself muted while Lynn is presenting, and then she'll ask you to either prompt you when we have some questions, or if she has a question for you, and you could either unmute yourself or write in the chat. Please use the reactions buttons if you would like, or raise your hand. If you wish to keep your camera off, that's fine, or you can keep it on. It's up to you. And I will post it on Core Alberta as well as the Healthy Aging Alberta YouTube after this session. So without further ado, I'll introduce you to Lynn Penko, who is the Functional Aging Specialist for 3B Senior Fitness Ltd. Take it over, Lynn. I pass it to you.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you, Stephanie, for having me, and Chris as well. So just to give you a little bit more information about who I am and my background, I am a teacher, first of all. I taught school for 10 years, primarily physical education. Once we started a family, had a little boy, I decided, well, I was an at-home mom, but I wanted to create a business working with seniors. 30 years ago, all you heard in the media was talk about the silver tsunami. And I am now part of the silver tsunami, right? The silver tsunami was the fact that all professionals were starting to notice the fact that the baby boomers were aging and were moving into the age group of becoming senior citizens. And with that change, there was going to be a huge need for all sorts of services to help people to age well. So I thought, instead of teaching children physical education, I'm going to pivot and I'm going to learn everything I can about working with older adults. So yeah, 25 years for me working with older adults. A good portion of that was with my own business, and 8 years included in that working in the retirement industry as a director of recreation. Okay. My company name is 3B, B as in Bob, 3B Senior Fitness. And that is because I noted over the past 25 years, the most important aspects of aging really well are brain, brawn, and balance. So brain, obviously, you can guess it, it's cognitive function, right? And social engagement. The brawn is about the muscles, because you need to keep your strength to maintain your independence. And the balance is don't fall. Okay, that is one of the most horrific things that I have witnessed in the past 25 years is when a fall happens, that can be catastrophic. Sometimes people fall as an older adult and they get back up and basically their pride perhaps is bruised. We've all had those funny tumbles and we're kind of embarrassed and we get back up, but sometimes you can't get back up. So I thought, all right, I need to have a huge focus on fall prevention. But there are an awful lot of aspects of aging well. And I am going to teach you quite a number of exercises in the last half here as I speak. But I'd like to talk about the other things that really tie into the brain part or the cognitive emotional part. And for that, I'm talking about social engagement. And you're probably all aware of this. It can be lonely sometimes if you happen to be living alone. And with that loneliness, sometimes that can spiral into depression and sadness and more sitting and losing strength. And it can be a very slippery slope. So I would encourage you to engage as much as you possibly can in exercise, but also in your community. Maybe you think, well, I'm retired. I'm not really sure what I could do. Well, I'm thinking right off the top of my head, there are a number of people who have vision problems and they can't read anymore. So if your vision is fine and you enjoy reading, would you consider going and being a reader at a retirement home for someone who is visually impaired? Or at the other end of the stick, we've got children who are struggling to learn to read, and sometimes they need a reading buddy. So there's just one example of something you could do in your community. It gets you out of the house and it's like a payback, right? You're giving back to other people and making a real impact on your community, whether it be big or small. Another aspect of this whole cognitive emotional wellness is stimulating your brain. So I really encourage you to figure out something that's going to challenge you. Me, I am learning how to play chess. It's just about making my head pop off, but it is a really good cognitive challenge for me to learn how to play chess. You might say, oh, I do crossword puzzles or whatever. I'm learning to speak Spanish. All of these things are fantastic. They challenge the brain. So I encourage you to pick something that you could be passionate about, that you know you will stick to. Another aspect is being with people. We really need not just to feel happy, but to stimulate. I keep using that word, but it's really important. We have to keep working on the noggin. So any interactions that you can have with people in your community, whether it's you go down the street and you play bridge or canasta with friends, the camaraderie and the fact that you're trying to figure out how to play the game and to do well with your friends, all of that is absolute medicine to your wellness. So I encourage you to think of something like that. Another aspect is your creativity. And everything I'm talking about, this is low budget. I'm not suggesting that you have to spend a lot of money. You can do this as a real low budget operation. You say, you know what? I really like to paint. I'd love to paint. I don't know how to paint, but I think I'm going to go to the dollar store, the Dollarama, find some arts and crafts types things and be creative. Nobody needs to see your end product, but the fact is you are having fun in creating something, whether it is that painting or building a birdhouse or something like that. So that kind of focuses in on the brain wellness. The brawn or building strength is so incredibly important, okay? Because there is a really, really strong link between strength and not falling. Just going to give you a little anecdote. I work one-on-one with people, and last week and also 3 months ago, I had calls from family members of gentlemen who were in the hospital. There was really nothing wrong with these men. They were both in their 80s, but they had fallen and they couldn't get up. So of course, they had to go in an ambulance and be assessed, but there wasn't really anything wrong that needed to be fixed. There was no surgery plan, no broken bones, nothing like that. But in the interim, with them laying in bed and the nurses are busy, as you know, the doctors are busy, laying in the bed, they start to lose their strength. And the more you lose your strength, the less chance it is that you are going to be able to walk, to get out of that bed and be as well as you were before you had that embarrassing fall. And it has been really gut-wrenching for me, actually, speaking to the family members of both of these gentlemen, because all it was loss of strength. These fellows fell because they had lost their strength. They couldn't get up because they had lost their strength. And then they laid in a hospital bed for a long period of time, losing their strength. So preventative medicine, don't fall. How are you going to do it? Strong quads. Quadriceps are your thigh muscles. If those are strong, you're well on your way to maintaining your independence, because number one, you can get up and down out of a chair if you have strong thigh muscles. You can also get on and off the toilet. Again, we want to be independent. If you've come to a point due to health problems where you have to hire people to assist you with things like that, of course. But if you can prevent it just, by keeping the muscles strong, isn't that nice for us to be able to look after ourselves and all of our personal needs, right? I would encourage you to walk, walk, walk. Not only because it's good for making your legs strong, it's also cardiovascular, right? Your heart muscle is the most important muscle that you've got. So you need to keep that strong. But walking, and a lot of people are really surprised when I say this, but walking is a balance exercise. Think of it. Now think about how you walk. I won't do it right now, but think about if I asked you to walk around your house or your apartment or your condo, wherever you are right now, how's your stride? Is your stride confident and you have a long, powerful stride? Are you noticing that your stride's getting shorter? Okay, maybe you're a little bit nervous about falling. So walking helps you to keep a strong stride, to keep the muscles strong, and also to keep a wider base of support. Because if you're noticing, oh my gosh, my stride length is, I'm afraid of falling, so my stride length is getting really short. You now are basically having a very narrow base of support. You're kind of like that new tree that was planted and the wind can just about blow it over, or the dog can bump the tree and knock it over. If you've got a long, powerful stride, you are like that great big oak tree. You're not going to get knocked over, right? You're going to be strong. So think about your stride. I would encourage you with your walking to use hiking poles. Hiking poles, I think, are just the best invention that has come about for helping us. I use them too, using them to age well. Number one, because of the punch, pull movement, it's working your upper body, which is fantastic. It's getting your heart rate up and it's improving your posture. If you walk with a walker or with a cane, sometimes there's the tendency to be leaning forward or walking like this with the cane. That's why I would suggest you consider the hiking poles for multiple benefits. They're just absolutely golden for helping you as well. If you start to kind of lose your balance, you've got support on either side to stabilize you. And I'm not selling them. I'm just telling you, I notice it in myself that they are very valuable to use. Just going to take a moment here because I like to do cognitive challenges with people to see, first of all, if they're paying attention, and to give them a mental challenge. Would you please pinch your nose? And then reach across your body and hold on to your ear. So you're in position and switch. Everybody switch. As fast as you can. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and stop. So probably no one in your entire life has asked you to do that. I just got you to learn a new skill. Do that all the time. As I say, whether it's the crossword puzzle or learning how to use hiking poles, anything like that. The brain part as well, I would encourage you to try to give yourself little brain challenges when you're doing your exercises. By the way, if going out for a big walk is just not something that you're able to do physically right now, stand and sit, and stand and sit, and stand and sit. Now that can be pretty boring, just standing and sitting. It's a wonderful exercise for you because it strengthens so many muscles in your lower body, but it is a bit boring. So give yourself a cognitive challenge while you're standing and sitting, and maybe you're going to do 10 sits to stands. Could you go through, how about the days of the week forwards and backwards? Because doing something backwards is a challenge for our brain. So you're all on silent, but let's go through and just go with me. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, Sunday. Anything like that that you can do forwards and backwards, good for your brain. And it passes the time while you're doing your 10 stands to sit. Really, really important. How about you spell your name forwards and backwards? We're going to use mine for the sake of argument here in time. My name's very easy. This is pretty easy for me. L-Y-N-N and N-Y-L. L-Y-N-N and N-Y-L. Well, that's not too bad to just do it because I'm concentrating on it. But what if I did my last name? Ooh, that's a little harder for me. What if I did the cognitive challenge while I was practicing my standing and sitting? If you can incorporate things like that into your life, really, really going to help you in the long run. By the way, I don't know if you like to sing, but you don't have to go into a choir, but I would strongly encourage you to sing because singing is very helpful for the breathing. So if you know some songs off the top of your head, sing your songs in the shower or wherever you are. If you don't know any songs and you can't remember the lyrics, YouTube is your best friend, right? You can go on and find so many songs. Once again, that is by yourself perhaps, but it's a form of social engagement because you're singing along with the person, you're stimulating yourself, your mood goes up and you just feel fantastic. Now, I brought a few props here. And I guess the point I was going to make, because I'm well aware, anywhere where you are, you could probably buy a gym membership and maybe you could go to the local recreation center, but maybe you can't. Maybe that is just not convenient. Maybe there isn't one nearby where you live, or perhaps it's too expensive, or you don't have transportation. So there's a lot of things that you can actually do right in your own home. Now, the best tool you could buy for yourself to help yourself out with exercise is a ball. This happens to be a dodgeball, but you could go to the dollar store or Canadian Tire and get an inexpensive one. Working with a ball and doing various exercises works on your reflexes, your upper body reflexes, which means you're going to be quicker to catch yourself from a fall. Oh, I'm falling, I'm falling, I'm falling. I reach out to the side, I grab the kitchen counter. I didn't fall because my reflexes were so fast, I didn't fall. So you get yourself your ball. By the way, if you think I'm not going out and buying a ball, get yourself a pair of socks. Turn the socks one inside the other and use the socks. Our bodies work in opposition, left and right coordinating. Think of how you walk, left, right, left, right. If you can practice something that forces you to coordinate the left and right sides of the body, once again, you're doing yourself a big favor. Keeping cognitively sharp, going to help you to keep your driver's license. So important to many of us. We want to keep our driver's license, keep your reflexes fast with your hands and also with your feet. Here's some simple exercises I'm going to show you with the socks or with a ball. As we age, sometimes it is difficult to tell what is true vertical. So true vertical, I'm going to see if I can throw this up and catch it. Yep, I can do that. That's your first exercise. Now, coordination of left and right, side to side. Still pretty easy, but that might not, I do this all the time. That might not be so easy for you. Maybe you haven't played with a ball for years. Maybe you played basketball 50 years ago, but you're not in the habit with fooling around with a ball like this. It is golden to do this. Then you make it harder. Create a pattern. Can you do this pattern? Low, low, high. Low, low, high. Low, low, high. Low, low, high. Then I'm going to add the cognitive component. I'm going to make my life more difficult. I'm going to see if I can remember to do that pattern while I'm counting up to 10 with even numbers. And I'm going to see if I can keep doing it. And then I'll count down from, say, 11 with odd numbers. Let's see how I do. Remember, it's low, low, high. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 9, 7, 5, 3, 1. Do I hear applause? I hope I hear some applause. That's not that easy to do. So I challenge you to give that a shot. If you are losing your strength in your upper body and your coordination, your reflexes are not good, how about one hand only? Tossing and catching the ball, one hand. You'll probably notice, oh my gosh, I'm not really good on the left-hand side. So do more on the left-hand side to help yourself. Okay. Here's another, so the ball is fantastic. Here's another great tool. You've all got a tea towel. So I'm just going to fold this over in half. We do not want to lose our grip strength. And most of us are losing our grip strength. So let's do something about it. You need to be strong. You do not want to be defeated by the pickle jar or the jam jar or whatever that jar is you're trying to open. You want to be strong to carry your groceries. Take the tea towel and roll it up. This is using all the muscles in my hand, and it's using my forearm flexors and extensors. Then I go the other way, around, round, 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 round. Very good strength training, muscular endurance, so you can always carry your groceries. More working on your grip strength. Take that and imagine this is a wet bathing suit. Squash, squash, squish, and crush. Crush. Keep crushing and releasing to build up your grip strength. When you go shopping, and I'm telling you, I do this myself now, 25 years of watching people lose their strength, you're highly motivated to not lose your strength. So when I go to buy my groceries, I live in Airdrie, I park as far away as I possibly can from the front door of the grocery store. Now, if it was a blizzard and it was icy, I'll be honest, I wouldn't do that. But for the most part, I park as far away as I can. And I have my shopping bags and I carry them as far as I can. Then honestly, because I have to go up in an elevator to where I live, I'm going to show you what I do. Imagine me holding onto groceries, lift, lift, lift. I'm doing strength training, not going to the gym, but I'm doing strength training with just things that happen to be in my environment. So take the chance, make your life difficult. Walk as far as you can. If you're going shopping at the Cross Iron Mall or somewhere in Calgary or Edmonton or Medicine Hat, wherever you might happen to be, don't park at the door where you want to go in to buy your things. Park at the other end so you have to walk. Don't do this with food, a pot full of hot food. But if you're cooking something, make sure that you're going to continue to be able to have the strength to cook your own food. This is heavy, and I don't even have anything in it, but I need to be able to maintain my strength in order to maintain my independence. So look for things like that around your home that you can do. Here's another one. Gentlemen, you would use a tie. Ladies, you would use a scarf. Upper body strength, because we're very sedentary now as a population. So I'm going to imagine I am in the kayak. Kayak, there's the paddle. This movement is engaging all my shoulder muscles. It's engaging my core muscles, so it's easier for me to get out of bed. Pause, back up the kayak away from the shoreline. My range of motion at my shoulder, I can feel this all the way up both sides of my trunk. I want to be able to be strong. Another thing, I'm getting to the end here, so just a few more hints. Strongly encourage you, go, not now, but lay on your bed every single day on your back, bend your knees, your feet will be the width of your hips, and do windshield wipers. So you're going to lower your knees to the left and to the right. Start small. Maybe you're really tight in your hips and you can only lower those bent knees a little bit. Ultimately, you don't need to be fast, but you need to have that range of motion. You should be able to hopefully get those knees down to the bed, because that means you've got mobility in your hip, which means you can get in and out of the bathtub, you can get in and out of your vehicle in 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Also, it's going to help you to be stronger, to not fall, because you're going to be able to move your leg quickly to the side to save yourself from that fall. So that's a windshield wiper. Another fantastic one. So many people who are older have got shoulder problems and pain in the neck, quite literally, because we're looking down here at our phones and we're looking at our books, and sometimes we fell asleep because we're having a little nap. So working on your posture, lay flat on your back, arms are out to the side, and you know how to make a snow angel in the snow. So to make it easier on your back, you might like to bend your knees, but remember, I'm on my back and I'm doing a snow angel here. Boy, am I going slowly. Notice that my palms are up. And for some of you with some shoulder issues, or maybe you've lost a lot of range of motion, you might come to here with your snow angel. Keep working on it. Even at the bare minimum, lay on the bed, palms out like that, because you've just spent an entire lifetime, all of us, we're forward, we're washing the dishes, we're repairing the car, we're doing whatever forward. Now it's devices like laptops and phones. So we are very tight in these muscles and we're overstretched on the back, which is creating problems with posture, which means you're like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, you're more likely to fall. And also it creates neck pain. So thinking about your posture by laying back on the bed, no pillow, by the way, and do your snow angel. So hitchhikers and snow angel, walking with hiking poles, parking as far away as you possibly can from your destination within reason, right? I'm just giving you best case scenarios. If you have a lot of pain, laying on your bed, doing some leg lifts or sitting on a chair and simply doing a leg extension from the chair, I'm just straightening my legs. At least I'm making my quad muscles stronger. All of these things are positive things that you can do for yourself. When you're laying on the bed, because it's really hard to stay there and stretch, and I strongly encourage you to do flexibility exercises. I don't have time to talk about all of those, but to do some stretches on the bed, to make yourself lay there longer, stay and do it. Get a laptop and put on something to listen to, a podcast or a Stuart McLean from the Vinyl Cafe, funny 20-minute story. So you will actually lay there and do your exercises. Maybe you're lifting your legs. It's more fun when you have something to listen to. Anyways, I'm going to stop talking. I hope that was helpful to you. I hope you felt a little bit inspired and maybe you got some good ideas about things that you might try in the coming weeks. Oh, by the way, one thing that I was told, if you want to be able to do something next year, do it today.
Thank you so much, Lynn. You do, since a lot of the folks in this room are service providers for older adults, do you also do digital presentations if they wanted to have you come and do a similar type of presentation for their older adults?
Yeah, I would help people out. Yep, just
Yeah.
call me.
Wonderful. So yes, I guess we'll open it up to conversation and questions. Does anybody have any questions, conversations, thoughts around this topic, or questions for our presenter, comments for our presenter?
Lynn, I have a question.
Okay.
Hi, Tatiana is here. Do you think seniors should have a consultation with one of the healthcare providers or someone regarding how safe it is to do certain exercises or certain activities before they start engaging in daily activities that you've just demonstrated? Do you think there is a value in having a prior conversation with someone who would advise them what is safe, what is not safe, etc., and who would be that professional that they should be talking to?
Absolutely, you should be speaking to your doctor. Find out, because I'm talking to faces here. I don't know you. I don't know your health history. Some of you might have osteoarthritis, which means you should be doing everything I just said. You should be exercising, because with osteoarthritis, in gentle, slow exercises will get increased blood flow to the affected area. Trust me, I know this because I've got it myself. The more I move, the less pain I have. So it's really important. That's for osteoarthritis. If you perhaps have osteoporosis and there's some issues with your spine, perhaps your doctor has said, please don't twist. Maybe you've had a hip replacement and your doctor has asked you to something to not do, but for sure, I would check with my GP. Hopefully you have one, or someone else who has a good handle on your health, and proceed from there with caution. But movement is medicine. I mean, the first thing most doctors are going to say to you if you're overweight or you've got this or you've got that is go and take a walk. Some physicians now are actually prescribing go outside. Go outside for mental health to improve your mood, but also because you have to go outside so you're moving your body. So walking is absolute medicine. But yeah, check and see, because I don't know all of your health problems or restrictions. I hope that makes sense.
It does. Thank you. And one more question. Can you speak to pros and cons for individual exercises versus attending a group exercise, a group activity?
Well, that's a very personal thing. In general, there are a lot of group classes because it's hard to be motivated to do exercises on your own at home. Some people can do that. They are just the type of people who are disciplined. They'll go up and they'll walk for 5 miles every day. They could do that. They'll lift weights in their basement. I don't believe that that is the majority of people. Group fitness is really wonderful because you also don't just get the exercise, you get to be with people. And it's good to know when other people care about you, because I know from so many years of teaching group fitness, if Mrs. Smith doesn't show up, say her name is Terry Smith doesn't show up, everyone's going, where's Terry today? And then when Terry comes back, because Terry had a fall, she was in the hospital. It's so wonderful for Terry to know she has a community and those people care about her. And because we live so far apart, some of us have family in other continents, let alone other cities, and we don't necessarily have the social support super close. Having social support by going to group fitness, again, it's just medicine, absolute medicine. Anybody else?
Yeah, thanks again. I have more questions, but I don't know if anybody else.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
Yes, some of us here, we are social workers and case managers. So I'm wondering, what do you see, what would be our role as social workers, case managers, outreach workers who work with seniors? What would be our role? What can we do differently in order to either educate or promote physical activities among our clients who are older adults?
The most important thing is getting people to be with people. We really do need people. There are so many lonely folks out there. So any programs that bring people together, even if it's whatever you want to call it, tea and conversation, but maybe tea and conversation, you know, first of all, that gets people out of their home, so they have to come to the event. But then maybe tea and conversation ends up being, well, let's practice doing leg extensions. Let's play catch with the balls. Anything that gets people to interact with others and to move their bodies. Again, all I can say it is preventative medicine, because there's too many lonely people out there. I believe that there should be a lot, because I worked in the retirement industry. I know what it's like to be the director of recreation and to not have a very big budget. And my role was to do everything, to drive the bus, to teach the art classes, to teach the fitness classes, to organize the entertainment, to do all these things. All retirement homes, nursing homes, long-term care, they should have many, many more people on staff to get folks moving. And they're just not enough. They're very, very short staffed. That was my experience. And I think that continues.
Thank you.
Was that helpful?
Not a question, but there was a comment in the chat that this would be a really great presentation for the lodge recreation staff as well. Yeah.
Yeah, the problem is training. I find, and when I first started looking for education to learn, you know, I was used to coaching junior and senior high basketball players and volleyball players, very different fitness program for those kids that I taught. How do I modify it to working with people? Because I worked up with people who are 100 years old and also very fit 100-year-olds. How do I keep them safe? And I think even now, I'm looking 25 years later, there are not enough people who are getting certified by Fitness Alberta to learn how to have the skills to do an exercise class and not hurt anyone. I think that is the big fear. A lot of fitness instructors are nervous. Oh, I don't want to work with somebody. They might have a heart attack or they might fall and break a hip. There is a real fear out there, but I think if more education was offered, so people know that, you know, there are a lot of basic things that can be done to keep seniors safe in an exercise class. But it needs to be done. There needs to be an initiative. Salaries are not good, honestly, in that field. So what I noticed myself, I'd get these amazing young kinesiologists coming out of university and, you know, work with me. I train them for a couple of years and then off they'd go because they have bills to pay. And unfortunately, that industry does not pay enough. It's probably one of the most important jobs that you could do is doing or teaching exercise classes, fall prevention for older adults. And yet there's not enough money for people to make a living doing it. So they leave after a very short period of time. Again, my experience, but I think it's still very comparable. I've been out of that industry for a while, but that was the saddest thing because the seniors literally fall in love with all these young kinesiologists and fitness instructors. And then these young people need to leave and go and work somewhere else. Or you've got other people who are being asked to teach the exercise classes in facilities who have no training. And that's a recipe for disaster because somebody might get hurt. Or it simply might not be the right exercises to be doing. So it's a lot about education, getting more people certified. How do I do it? How do I teach a seated exercise class for people who are all between the ages of 60 and 100? There's a big difference, right? That was the most shocking thing to me when I first started doing this 25 years ago. All they talked about was 50 plus club classes. And of course I was 30, so I thought 50-year-olds were incredibly old and fragile. I've changed my opinion on that now, but I thought I'd be teaching 50-year-olds. And when I first started teaching in Calgary, oh my gosh, the vast majority, my babies were 65, but I had many 75 and 80-year-olds and sometimes 90-year-olds in the class. So you need a lot of education on how do I keep these people safe and what are the most effective exercises to help them. It's tricky. Anything else? One thing I'm going to say, just jumping in here, my mom had a heart attack many, many years ago. And I've known many, many people who've had a heart attack. And what do? They go to cardiac rehab. What do they ask them to do? Walk. Walk. Go on a bike. Because as I said earlier, the most important muscle is your heart. And if you've got poor cardiac function, you're going to be in some difficulty as time goes by. So that's why I'm saying I've never heard of a doctor that didn't say walk. But walk safely, walk at your level of ability. That's why I always try to promote people using the hiking poles or their walker in a safe manner with good posture so they don't fall, but they get the benefit of moving their body.
And the ice shoes in the winter too.
Yes. And something I haven't even spoke about, I'm in the pool 3 to 4 times per week. I used to teach aquasize. I do it on my own now because I like to go super early and do my own thing. But getting seniors into the water, there are more and more people in these classes. It's wonderful because you can move in all directions. And I'm not even talking about a fancy, do aquasize class. Walk forward, walk backwards, walk to the left, walk to the right. That will help people enormously to improve their balance and their strength because they're pushing against the resistance of the water in every direction. Lots of aches and pains, but when you're in the water, the reason it's so nice for older adults is there's the buoyancy, right? So when you're walking, it's not your full body weight going down on that sore knee or that hip that's waiting to be replaced. You're walking and you're pushing against the water, but doesn't hurt. So if only we could have a swimming pool for every senior citizen to go water walking, that would be wonderful. Very good preventative medicine. Any other
Does
questions?
anybody else in the room want to share some of the programs they have going on, the wellness program, the fitness program they have going on? If anybody has any.
No. I'm looking at this picture of myself and I'm remembering that I forgot to mention something. You may notice there's a bit of a theme here. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll admit it. I live in Alberta and I'm a Rough Rider fan. I bleed green. But it's very important to make your environment suit your personality to make you feel happy. And that goes for me in my space here. That goes for any senior if they're living in a retirement home or long-term care. Personalizing their space with whatever their passions are or whatever it is that they love to do, especially when they're not well. And something I did not share is I had to leave work at the end of November 2020. I got COVID. I didn't think I was going to make it, but I did, but I was not able to work again. I tried for a year to get my health back and I got sicker and sicker. So I have been out of the workforce. I'm doing things like this. I just do some things like this when I feel well as a volunteer. But part of my healing was I do practice what I preach. Initially, I was too sick to do anything, but then I started doing all of the exercises that I used to teach seniors to do. And it was my rehabilitation. And I can't tell you how it has saved me doing those exercises. I spent a lot of time on my own, so it was lonely. It was sad losing your job, losing your career because you're sick and nobody knows how to make you well. So I had to make my environment cheerful for myself. For me, I did that with a lot of plants and decorating with sort of very earthy tones and so on. That's kind of my style. So I made my home a very happy place to be, even though I was really sick. And that's going to happen to all of us. Maybe some of you are quite ill right now, or maybe next year you might be ill, or you might have a bad fall. Things happen to us as we get older. So if you can create that kind of a healing space around you, or for your clients, encourage them. If they love the color red, I know a friend, she has a red bathtub because she wanted a red bathtub. Not my choice, but she always wanted a red bathtub. So she got a red bathtub. She loves it. It just makes her happy. So being really good to ourselves. And if some of your clients are not able to help themselves that way, find out what they like. One of my clients many years ago, Polish lady, told me that, and she was probably 85 or at least 85. And she wanted me to know that in her home country, in Poland, when she was a young girl, she was declared the top female basketball player in the country. And she had such pride about it. So I got her doing exercises with balls that mimicked basketball skills. She was so proud. Of course, I would be proud too if I could say that, but I didn't know that about her. So if you can talk to your clients or your friends and find out what did they used to really love, and maybe they can't do it now, but maybe, maybe they can't go to the football game anymore, but maybe whether they want a new jersey, or maybe they need someone to take them to the hockey game or something like that. Because it really is about when people are sick or in a lot of pain, it's about healing your heart as well and keeping your spirits up. And exercise and all these other things I've spoken about, they can all do that to really help people. Worked for me.
Yes, wonderful thoughts, Lynn. Any last question? One more question before we wrap up? I see a few people had to sneak away for their lunch here, so. Okay, no further questions, it seems. Lynn, would you be open to us sharing your contact information with folks in case they wanted to chat further with you?
Give them my email, okay?
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, so thank you very much for this presentation. Very helpful, very useful. And thank you everybody who was here with us today. We're very grateful, Lynn, for your time, taking the time to come and chat with us. Before everybody jumps out of the room, I'm going to put one poll question here just for you to answer. And it's as unfortunately Chris had to run today. He had, as many of you know, Chris runs a transportation project in Oyen, he's our group lead, and he had a last minute client he had to take to Medicine Hat. So he's not here with us today. And he sends his regrets. But as Chris and I are chatting about future topics for future sessions, maybe just fill in if there's some other ones you would like to see in upcoming meetings and groups in the poll. But otherwise, I guess I'll remove your spotlight here.